It is currently 16 minutes away from the top of the hour, 12 o'clock in Port of Spain, Trinidad. Today is Sunday, February 12th. It is indeed a great pleasure to welcome the Democratic member for the U.S. House of Representatives for the 9th Congressional District in Brooklyn, that's central, covering all of central Brooklyn, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. It is a great pleasure to have you join us. Good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Rennie.
It has been a long time. It is good to hear your voice. I trust that you're managing in the up and down weather that you're having across there in Washington, D.C.
Well, we're doing the best that I can under the circumstances.
Under the circumstances, indeed. We ask you here this morning, and thank you for making the time for us. As a child of Jamaican immigrant parents, you are intimately aware of the anxiety in the West Indian community. So when we hear that last week the U.S. immigration authorities arrested hundreds of undocumented immigrants in at least half a dozen states, including New York City, it was seen as the first large-scale enforcement of President Trump's January 26 order to crack down on the estimated 11 million immigrants. Now, while the report said that a lot of folks were taken out from Latin America and Mexico, it is reported that a lot of people, including West Indians, were swept up in this situation. Is it time for undocumented persons and those in process of West Indian extract to pack up and start thinking of leaving?
No, we are not encouraging that at all. Luckily for us in the city of New York, we have what we call a sanctuary city. So that means that our law enforcement does not serve as an arm of the federal government, and we, in all that we do, are mindful of those who are undocumented around us, the crucial part that they play in the strengthening of our communities and our families, and we'll do everything within our power to protect them during this time of uncertainty and hostility.
U.S. Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, my guest. We are talking about Sanctuary City, just that our Trinidadian listenership, Trinbagonian listenership, understand what is a sanctuary city. And after explaining that, Congresswoman, the fact that Donald Trump has said he will start defunding the federal contribution to these sanctuary cities. Explain those two things for me, please.
Okay. So what has been termed as a sanctuary city is simply a city in the United States of America that has made a moral decision that they will not be in cooperation with the federal authorities as it comes with respect to immigration law. That is solely the jurisdiction of the United States government. And we therefore continue to provide services to individuals who may be undocumented amongst us, understanding that they are part of the fabric of the families and the communities in which we reside, recognizing that they are part of our national and local state safety net when it comes to any crimes that could be committed amongst them or that could harm others of the community, that we don't want to put them in a position where they're driven so deeply underground that we all become vulnerable as a result of not maintaining our posture of protecting these individuals. And what the Trump administration has said that they would do is defund sanctuary cities if they find that they are in violation of their executive order. Well, what we are saying is that it's unconstitutional for the federal government to insist that municipalities adhere to a federal order that is to be executed by the federal government. And there will be rounds and rounds of litigation around this issue, and we expect that we will win in litigation.
So it is fair to say that, plain and simple, states are responsible for the sanctuary city, and they are not obligated, according to the interpretation, they feel they are not obligated to do the federal government's mandate or duties.
Absolutely.
US Congresswoman Yvette Clarke is my guest here. We are talking about Trinidad and Tobago is in the midst of Carnival. Many nationals are worried that after coming to Trinidad for Carnival and upon returning to the United States, though properly documented, they may be barred from re-entering. Can you assure that these fears are unfounded, or at least that those who are properly documented should not have a problem re-entering the United States?
Absolutely. Right now, as things stand, there had to be a correction in the previous executive order as executed that erroneously added residents, U.S. residents, to the list of those who were being barred from entry. As you may know, the current, what I consider to be Muslim ban, has been basically made nullified by the courts.
Yes.
Because of a number of unconstitutional provisions that were a part of the Muslim ban. So as things sit right now, the nation is no longer under this ban, and I believe that it is in the right of every individual, as long as they are documented, as long as they are residents or have a valid visa to be in the United States, to travel to the United States.
There's the conventional wisdom, Congresswoman, that those stopped by the courts in the U.S., the President Trump, as he has shown, if it does not go his way, he will find another way around it. So this ban that he put, and as you rightly say, on mostly Muslim countries, 7 of them, the Caribbean was not included inside of there. So is that another area of some comfort for Caribbean folks, not being on the 7, that the Congress, this is the Democratic side of the Congress, will create sufficient pushback that whatever new initiative he introduces in this coming week, as he has promised, will not continue to infringe the rights guaranteed in the Constitution, but will not bring other countries in that sweep to stop folks returning, as he called them, terrorists, or places where terrorists arrive from.
Well, I think that you stated it correctly, Rennie. We are prepared to answer any unconstitutional banning of travel in and out of the United States as proposed through executive order by Donald Trump. We expect that there would not be an expansion, but we are totally prepared to address it should things drift in that manner. I am very concerned that the Congress of the United States is permitting the executive branch to do our job. It is our job to legislate and to propose law that will address our broken immigration system. And as long as the Republicans in the House of Representatives remain recalcitrant in this manner, we need to speak out about the fact that for too long now the United States has had a broken immigration system, and were we to fix it, were we to update it to a 21st century law, many of the what I consider to be atrocities at the airports and ports of entry would not be the case. Let me also state, Rennie, that we have a cadre of organizations, legal organizations, and attorneys who are prepared to assist in any situation that could arise due to the ambiguity of the current law at the airports, and would encourage anyone who finds themselves in a compromised situation to ask immediately for legal counsel, and they are entitled to that, whether it's at the airport of entry or whether it's in enforcement action at their homes or their jobs. We need to be informed. No one is to suffer in silence. This nation is at a turning point. And there are many people, as you can see by the demonstrations that have been held ever since the swearing in of Donald Trump, make clear that this is not the type of nation that we expect to live in. This is not the type of law that we expect to live under.
My guest in Brunch this morning is, and I'm thankful that she took the time to be with us, Representative for the 9th Congressional District. She is Yvette Clarke. Thank you so much again for taking the time to be with us. In the area of that you just mentioned, there are units set up to assist folks who may return and find that, in fact, they are held for further scrutiny, as it were. You said that they are organizations. Is there one telephone number that you can recall immediately that I can give to our listeners that folks can take, because we are not only here in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, but throughout the world as we stream internationally? And if there is a number or an organization they can ask for if they are unfairly stopped, they ask to make their one phone call, what should that number be, or that organization?
Well, what I would say is they should certainly reach out to the NAACP Legal Defense Fund or the American Civil Liberties Union. Unfortunately, I don't have those numbers on me, but what I can provide is my office phone number, where those numbers can be accessed for family members who are here in the U.S. or who may be traveling abroad to get that information. And the number for my office is 718-287-1142.
That's 718-287-1142. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Congresswoman
That's
Yvette
correct.
Clarke, you and I, for a long time while in New York, talked about this whole question of the implications of the lack of any immigration reform, and now particularly with President Trump's executive order and what we expect he will send. It has dire implications for the Caribbean in the area of remittances, because where you have a situation of a lot of people at risk not being able to find employment, for folks are fearing employing them, then a lot of people being returned to the Caribbean, the issue of remittances will become a major problem, and people in Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and a number of other countries depend on these remittances, which means you're looking at serious social consequences for these countries. Is that something that the Congress is going to look at when you consider that he may get through with some of his executive orders to have folks deported?
Well, we are going to certainly raise all of those issues as members of Congress. We will be, there is a constant speaking out, going to the floor of the House of Representatives to make it known the disruption to the economic livelihood that these orders oftentimes don't take into consideration. It is very clear to many of us in Congress that Donald Trump does not know what he's doing. He does not know the extent of interconnectivity between families who are here in the U.S., the vital role they play as a lifeline to others back in their homes of origin, and how that, in effect, continues to keep the world economy moving in a way in which it doesn't depress our ability to impact on the global economy. And so that is not an item that has gone unnoticed by many of us in Congress, and will be an argument as part of our push for comprehensive immigration reform. As a matter of fact, I just introduced an expanded temporary protective status piece of legislation for Haitians who are currently in the United States last Friday, who found themselves here in the wake of the earthquake in Port-au-Prince in 2010, as well as those who have made their way here in the wake of the ferocious hurricane that rocked Haiti as well. These individuals play such a vital role in an extremely impoverished nation to just keep families afloat. And we believe that it's in our best interest, in the interest of this nation and of Haiti, to provide those individuals who are here, who could serve as a lifeline to the nation that we provide them with temporary protective status.
Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, my final question to you has to do with something, again, that was argued before. Trinidad and Tobago, not dissimilar to Jamaica and other countries, would have serious social consequences coming from the number of deportees coming one time back to their country. These are people, many of them, who have for the failure of the federal government to protect their borders. They got to the United States, lived there. Most of them have no connections either in Haiti, in Kingston, or in Port of Spain. No connections whatsoever. You're giving me this mass of people coming back, and there is not even a financial package in place to assist governments in relocating these people, reacclimatizing them to go back in their populations. This is going to create a major problem if it is not seriously considered when you talk about the moves of Donald Trump to deport all these people. You cannot have them get in there through your own fault, really, or inability to protect your borders. Grow up there, learn all the ways of criminality, and suddenly say, I'm going to take all of them and dump it back on you. Now you go deal with it.
Absolutely. Again, that is a destabilizing factor. When you just talk about the Western Hemisphere, we're talking about our Caribbean neighbors. And we have a moral, if not civic obligation to really vet the individuals who are being deported, to provide those nations of the region with a complete dossier of these individuals and the resources for reentry into civil society in the Caribbean region. But beyond that, we have an obligation to take a look at exactly when these individuals entered the United States. I am of the mind that if an individual was brought to the United States as a child and had no decision-making power in that dynamic, but has lived their life as a U.S. Citizen, for lack of a better term, for most of their lives, that deporting them is not something that we should be doing, that they should be receiving a pardon under a new immigration law that enables them to make things right with this nation, to go on with their lives, their education, their employment. Again, the lack of humanity in what is being proposed by the executive branch under Donald Trump is something that most Americans are appalled by and that we are pushing back on, and we're going to do everything within our legislative ability to change that dynamic and to stand and obstruct the way of making these draconian decisions that are not in the interest of the individuals who are being harmed by them, nor the national security of the United States of America.
Congresswoman, I'm going to do a synopsis of what we said here. Essentially, those who are traveling should not be worried because the Caribbean, not only Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, not only are not among the 7 nations named, even the 7 nations named by Donald Trump has been stopped. That order has been stopped in the court. It has been appealed twice, final appeal going to the circuit, and they said no. It is hardly likely that he will go to the Supreme Court on this. However, he has said he will attempt to put something in this week. We can watch that. But in the interim, if any nationals find themselves of the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago included, find themselves in trouble upon arriving in the United States, they can reach out to the NAACP or the ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union, or call your office at 718-287-1142. Am I correct on that so far?
Absolutely, Rennie. Thank you so much, and it's been great having brunch with you.
It is great hearing you again, and we will keep the dialogue open. Congresswoman, thank you so very much. Have yourself a good day and a good week.
You do the same. Take care now.
And I thank you. You too now. It is 12 o'clock in the city. Let me say thanks to all my guests for being with me this morning. The Honorable Senator Clarence Rambarat, thank you for having brunch with me. Veteran journalist Errol Pilgrim. we had a conversation, a good one too, with Ronnie McIntosh. Ronnie, thank you so much for being here. And we concluded by having the U.S. Congresswoman for the 9th Congressional District, which is mostly all of Brooklyn, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke. Thank you too for joining me inside this brunch. I hope you have yourself a very good Panorama semifinals today. May my band move on to emerge at the top. I couldn't help that. Have yourself a wonderful day. And join me Monday through Friday from 5 until 9 o'clock for the 107.7 Morning Show with my co-host Michelle Borrell. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you so much.